Hey y'all, Pancake here. D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, is just a few weeks away, and today we're going to preview some of the merchandise, the show floor experiences, and of course, the presentations coming to this event. So come along and let's check it all out. I have just 3 words to say. Well, 1 letter and 2 numbers. D23. What used to be called the D23 EXPO is now referred to as D23 the Ultimate Fan Event, and for good reason. It is the place to be if you're a Disney fan, if you're a Star Wars fan, a Marvel fan, heck, even if you're a Bob's Burgers fan, this is the event for you. Now, to just keep it simple, I'm going to refer to this event as D23 throughout this video. Now, in my opinion, D23 consists of 3 main things: shopping, show floor experiences, and panels. Now let's start with the shopping. This event is very dangerous, and that's because there is just so much cool merchandise to buy. They always come out with limited edition merch for D23, and this year is no exception. Now, let's go through some of the stores that I'm most excited for. First, let's start with the biggest store, the D23 Marketplace. This is a 16,000 square foot store that will feature a lot of those limited edition items special to D23 I was mentioning, including a pin set that gives a nod to it being the 25th year of pin trading. It's crazy that it's been that long since pin trading started. Now, next up is the Walt Disney Company store, which will feature merchandise from the Walt Disney Studios, the Walt Disney Archives, and the Walt Disney Company. The mention of merch from the Walt Disney Archives piques my interest because I don't have any recollection of them ever selling merchandise before at D23 or even at the studio lot itself, which is where the archives are located. So I'm really excited to see what kind of items they have in addition to some of these items that they showed in the press release for this. But some of the neat items that the Walt Disney Studio shop is selling include some collectible figures depicting iconic locations from across the Walt Disney Studios lot, including the Partner statue, Sharing the Magic statue, Pluto's Corner sign, and the Water Tower. Although I don't think anything will beat this version of the Water Tower behind me that they did for the Eras collection. It's one of my favorite things that I own, so it's gonna be hard topping that. And last, but certainly not least, the store I'm looking forward to the most has to be Mickey's of Glendale. If you don't know, this is an actual store on the Imagineering campus, and every D23 they always show up with some of the coolest merch. And the only people who can buy this merch are cast members who visit the actual physical store at the Imagineering campus. And of course, this 3-day pop-up shop is also a place that you can get this merch, so it's very exclusive. And I've been lucky enough to visit the actual store a couple times, and some of my favorite shirts, pins, posters are from this store, so I'm really excited to see what they have. They also will have a Disney Studio Hollywood store, the Walt Disney Company pin store, as well as Disney Publishing. So those are some of the shops that are going to be at D23. All right, enough of the merch. Let's move on to the show floor where the real excitement begins. This floor is huge. It's honestly overwhelming the first time you step into that convention center, and the booths and experiences continue on as far as the eye can see. And with all the main presentations being at the Honda Center this year, they're going to have even more room to fill with booths and experiences. Obviously, it would take way too long to hit on every single thing, so let's go through some of the ones that stand out to me the most that I think will be some of the highlights of the show floor this year. First, let's start with an experience brought by the Walt Disney Archives called the Great Big Beautiful Car Show. It's their biggest exhibition in history, and this exhibit pays homage to vintage car shows and Americana, giving guests an up-close look at over 20 vehicles from the Archives collection. Next up, at the Lucasfilm Pavilion, they are bringing their state-of-the-art stagecraft technology to D23 for guests to experience. If you have ever seen The Mandalorian or any Marvel series, this is what they use to create those hyper-realistic backdrops and environments that allow them to capture impossible environments in camera without the need for green screens. This is probably the show floor experience I'm most looking forward to. This tech is truly mind-blowing and has allowed for some truly incredible progression in filmmaking without costing hundreds of thousands of dollars on travel to film at distant exotic locations. And it also sounds like the creature team from Legacy Effects will be there as well, so I'm hoping to get some up close and personal time with some Star Wars creatures. I think that would be such a cool combo. Now, if you're a fan of the hit show Loki, Marvel Studios will have a TVA, Time Variance Authority, walkthrough experience where you will get to see pivotal moments from the show recreated in front of you. This sounds really neat, and I love the set design of this whole show, so I'm excited to see what they do here. Now, Lightstorm, the studio that brought you Avatar, will have an immersive walkthrough experience as well that will take you into the world of Avatar. Guests will discover the captivating culture of the Na'vi, explore the bioluminescent forest, and soar through the mountains like a banshee. So I'll be very curious to see what they do here. I have a feeling it's going to look a lot like Pandora, the World of Avatar at Animal Kingdom, just in a confined booth. So I'm excited to see what they do here. Now finally, the Imagineering Behind the Dreams Disney Experiences Pavilion is where fans will get unprecedented access to Imagineering's passionate and talented team of artists, engineers, and craftspeople. There will be design models, interactive demos, live prototypes, and exclusive presentations at this pavilion, and guests will get a first-hand view of the innovative and immersive storytelling that will fuel the growth of Disney parks, resorts, cruise ships, and other experiences for decades to come. This one is always a highlight, and sometimes we'll see some overnight updates to this pavilion after the announcements from the Disney Experiences panel, so we'll have to wait and see what they got up their sleeves, but I'm hoping for a model of a new land, maybe the tropical Americas. We'll just have to see. And finally, we arrive to usually the highlight of D23, which is the presentations. There are tons of panels with incredible announcements, deep dives into Disney history regarding movies, TV, and the parks. And this year they are changing it up a bit, and it's what I think is going to make this year's D23 bigger and better than ever. Like all the past years, there are really two types of presentations. The smaller, more retrospective ones, and then the bigger tentpole presentations. Now, what makes this year different is the big tentpole ones will be at night to cap off each day. And not only that, but they are moving them over to the Honda Center where before they were at the Convention Center. And before we discuss those, let's go over some of the smaller yet still exciting panels that I'm looking forward to the most. First up, if you saw my last video where I visited Hollywood Studios and spoke about the Muppets, then you will know I'm really looking forward to the Muppets 70 Anniversary, a glamorous Miss Piggy retrospective. The director of the Disney Archives, Becky Cline, and the producer from the Muppets, Danny Iglesias, will look back on the past 70 years of the Muppets, but most importantly, Miss Piggy. They will bring out some artifacts from the past, and who knows, maybe some of the Muppets will even show up. Fingers crossed. Next up is a panel celebrating 30 years of Toy Story with the filmmakers and Pixar legends as they reflect on the making of the groundbreaking classic nearly 3 decades ago and share some never before heard anecdotes about how the historic film came to be. Now, I got to go to the 20 years of Toy Story panel they did back in 2015 at D23, and some of the stories were just so neat and the visuals they showed, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, a new addition that I've never remembered them doing before is Disney Legends in Conversation. Now, one of those big tentpole presentations I mentioned is the Disney Legends ceremony that features short speeches from the newest Disney Legends inductees. Now, this presentation will allow a much longer conversation with some of those select inductees that we'll see on Sunday. And I love this because, like I said, the regular Legends presentation has quite a few people getting inducted, and they only really get to do like a short 5-minute speech, but this will allow us to take a deep dive into their careers and hear a lot more about them and have a conversation with them. So I'm really excited for that. Okay, now let's move on to the grand finales of each night. Those bigger presentations that will be hosted inside the Honda Center. Let's start with the Legends panel while we are discussing that. So this will be hosted by none other than Ryan Seacrest because, of course, who else would host it? This man hosts everything. You know, but get that money, Ryan, get that money. Some of the notable inductees this year include John Williams, Harrison Ford, Frank Oz, Angela Bassett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Miley Cyrus, and Joe Rohde, to name a few. Now, some of these people played a huge influence in my life. I mean, Frank Oz is the voice of Yoda and was also one of Jim Henson's right-hand men with the Muppets. And of course, John Williams, his musical scores have been so influential to all of us, I think, and I really hope we get to see him on stage conducting a live orchestra. That would be so cool. All right, now going backwards to the first night, Friday, we have the Disney Entertainment Showcase. This will include all of those major movies and TV announcements with some surprise guests, performances, and more. You know, I'm really hoping to get a glimpse into what the new Mandalorian movie is going to be about. Maybe a trailer for the live action Lilo and Stitch movie, you know? What I would love to see the most would be a surprise announcement of a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I would love to see Johnny Depp back as Jack Sparrow, but only time will tell. I got to see Jack Sparrow actually come out, or Johnny Depp come out as Jack Sparrow one year, and my life was made. And finally, the presentation that has the most anticipation, and of course the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, is the Horizons Disney Experiences Showcase. Now this is where we will hear updates on all of those upcoming projects coming to the theme parks that they have been hinting at, including the Tropical Americas project for Animal Kingdom, and of course the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain project. And I can't wait to get more details and hopefully see some detailed concept art of the attractions coming to these lands. You know, I'm really hoping we even maybe get some projects that we haven't heard about yet that haven't been announced, so fingers crossed for that. And this presentation will also be where we get to hear about the new Disney Cruise Line ships sailing soon, such as the Disney Treasure, the Disney Destiny, and the Disney Adventure. And I'm super curious about the Disney Adventure since it'll be DCL's largest ship in the fleet, and I have to imagine that they have big plans for that one. And there you go. There is a rundown of all the D23 will have to offer. This is going to be my third time going, I believe, and every year I have gone, it has been so much fun. And this year, I'm sure, will be no exception. I do plan on filming content all 3 days and bringing it to you here on this channel. So please take a second, hit that subscribe button below, and even hit the little bell icon to be notified when those videos go up. And now please let me know in the comments if you're going to D23 this year, and even if you are or aren't, what announcement are you hoping to hear? That's gonna do it for this one, y'all. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to watch me ramble on about D23. I'm just so excited. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Remember to stay golden.